I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. Sometimes I feel like all is lost, but I know it's not true. I wanna put up all my walls cause I'm not in the mood, but then I cut myself off from the rest of the room. I know that time can heal it all if you're patient and soon it can all be worth it, all the searching. Pain is never really permanent, but damn it hurts, man. I could feel all of the turbulence and it's concerning. I've been searching for a purpose, I hope it's worth it. This society is really trying me. Ain't no hide and seek, I hide to be far from anxiety. I need my space, I need my privacy. I need some silence, please, you're all too loud. You don't speak quietly, opinions violently.
Hello and welcome to The Warrior Within. I'm your host, Jaime Bennett. And as always, viewer discretion is strongly advised. Although the topic of today's show, I would ask parents to watch this episode first and decide whether or not your child is mature enough to watch this episode. It might be educational and informational for them. So just viewer discretion is advised. I'm going to be talking about the ivory trade and the poaching of elephants and why it's very, very important for us to help the elephants and to help stop poaching in Africa. And, it's just not right. And it's something that I'm extremely passionate about. And it's something that really, really breaks my heart to hear about. I'm going to be reading from some websites today. I hope you all don't mind that. I don't like to take notes. I like this to be organic, and I like you guys to find out the information, just like I'm finding out the information as I'm reading it to you. So we will research this topic and view it together. The first website that I'm going to be taking you to, it comes from a website. It's animallaw.info intro/elephants-and-ivory-trade. And this is about the elephants and the ivory trade. And this article was written by Ann Linder in 2016. And it's a brief summary of elephants and the ivory trade. Ivory, which happens to come from elephant tusks, is considered to be very, very valuable. And because of the high price of ivory, poachers illegally kill elephants so that they can take and sell them for the high price. Tens of thousands. I'm going to repeat that because that is a huge number. Tens of thousands of elephants are killed each year just for their tusks. And the result of that is the elephant populations have declined rapidly. And this is in 2016. Can you imagine how much it has declined since this article came out? That is a really, really scary thought. The highest demand for ivory happens to be in China, where tusks are carved into sculptures or used for other products. Many of the Chinese consider ivory to be a symbol of luck, wealth, and status. Other countries, including the United States of America, also have illegal ivory markets. CITES, the international body that governs the endangered species, currently prohibits ivory trade because of the risks it poses to the elephant conservation. Some of the African countries oppose this trade ban, and while others, like Kenya, support it. In the United States of America, trading in ivory is prohibited with only a few exceptions. Federal laws and state laws restrict ivory. Many of the nations that are home to elephants suffer from other problems such as poverty and political corruption. As a result of that, the elephant conservation movement has focused on reducing demand in countries that purchase ivory. The long-term survival of the species is dependent upon the international cooperative and effective enforcement. If the ivory trade continues at this current rate, and remember, this is an article from 2016, if it continues at this current rate, elephants may be faced with extinction. That is a really, really scary thought, and it makes me very, very sad to hear that. The overview of elephants in the ivory trade, this comes from the same article, the same website, and the same author of Ann Linder. Ivory has long been valued for its aesthetic quality. So like it said, in China, it is a symbol of wealth. If somebody in China, one of the wealthy people in China, has a carving made out of ivory sitting on their desk, that is a symbol of them being very, very wealthy. It's valued for its aesthetic qualities. I can't even talk, sorry. It's valued for its aesthetic qualities and properties and can fetch prices of up to $1,000 a pound. Ivory comes from the elephant tusks, like I had said earlier, which are a type of teeth. Poachers do illegally kill these elephants in order to harvest and sell their tusks. As a result of the high demand for ivory, elephant populations had dropped significantly in the recent years. More than 100,000 elephants were illegally poached from 2010 through 2012. Can you imagine how high those numbers are now? The number of elephants today is likely less than 10% of what it was 100 years ago. 10%. That's crazy. That's insane. That makes me really, really angry and frustrated. I hate that so much. It is so frustrating. 10% of what it was 100 years ago. I'm repeating that because that is an insane number. It is estimated that as much as 70% of ivory is imported to China. Now, I said that earlier, they consider it prosperity. They consider it to be, elegant and signs of them being wealthy. At what cost? It takes one elephant. You're killing one whole elephant and ending its life just for a trinket on your desk. That is ridiculous. So, 70% of the ivory trade is imported to China, where carved ivory items are popular and considered a symbol of status. China is not the only consumer of ivory, however. The United States, Thailand, Vietnam, Japan, and the Philippines are also support large markets for ivory. Poaching has become more sophisticated. That's a scary thought. More sophisticated over the last decade. Today, poachers are often part of an organized crime operations, and they are armed with military-grade weapons. Some terrorist groups have been linked to poaching activities, as well as rangers employed to protect the wildlife are often killed alongside the elephants. That is really, really sad and very, very scary. Think about that. For a minute. These rangers are paid to protect the elephants, and they're getting killed right alongside the elephant. So not only are the elephants getting killed because of ivory, the people who are paid to protect them are getting killed because of ivory. At what cost? You have to think, at what cost? cites the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna is the foremost international law governing elephants and ivory. CITES offers 3 levels of regulations, with Appendix 1 being the strongest and Appendix 3 being the most lax. Originally, African elephants were listed under Appendix 3 until they were moved to Appendix 2 in 1977. During that time, from 1977 on, they were governed by a hunting quota system. In 1990, Kenya, along with the United States of America, successfully lobbied for African elephants to be listed under Appendix 1, banning all legal ivory trade. However, sources from countries like South Africa and Namibia, I can't even say Namibia. There we go. Namibia, along with consumer countries like China, have opposed the ivory trade ban and pushed for ivory sales to continue. A few such sales have been allowed in the recent years. Other countries like the United States of America and Kenya have instead burned or crushed stockpiled ivory in attempts to signal that it should not be bought or sold. So in the United States, ivory sales were restricted by the African Elephant Conservation Act. Goodness, I can't talk today, y'all. It's okay. We will get through this. The Lacey Act, as well as several state laws in the last few years, the Obama administration had issued a series of executive orders limiting ivory trade. On July 6th of 2016, now remember, this article is from 2016, the White House announced a near total ban. So that's really awesome, a near total ban. We need to do whatever we can to conserve elephants because their numbers are getting very, very low. And once an animal is extinct, you cannot bring it back from extinction. And earlier, at what cost? Just for a trinket made out of ivory to sit on somebody's desk. It takes one whole elephant. One elephant had to die for that sculpture just to sit on somebody's desk. That is ridiculous and very, very offensive, in my opinion. So, in July 6, 2016, the White House did announce a near total ban on objects containing African elephant ivory. Though the regulations did not restrict personal possession of ivory, they did, however, prohibit sale and trade of African ivory with only a few exceptions. Items containing fewer than 200 grams of ivory and artifacts over 100 years old when presented along with verification. The future of the African elephant populations is tenuous, as poaching continues at high rates. Because of the political and economic difficulties faced by many African nations, the majority of conservation efforts have focused on limiting demand for ivory. The United States of America, however, seems to be moving in a singular direction toward protections and trade restrictions. That is a scary thought. I mean, that is really, really scary. So I'm going to tell you next about how many elephants are killed for their ivory. And this is an article that you can find on vasexE-concept-store.com/how-to-delete-this-post. So that's where you can find it. And it's an article that came out in December 19th of 2019, so it's fairly recent. It's more updated than the 2016. This article did get updated May 12th of 2020, and it tells you how many elephants are killed a day. A day. Let that sink in for a minute before I tell you how many elephants are killed in 1 day. An estimated 100 African elephants are killed each day by poachers that are seeking ivory, meat, body parts, leaving only 400,000. 400,000. That may seem like a large number, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not a very big number. It's a really scary low number. 400,000 remaining. An insatiable lust for ivory products in the Asian market makes the illegal ivory trade extremely profitable. And that has led to the slaughter of tens of thousands of African elephants. That's really horrible. Let that sink in for a moment. That is really, really, really scary. Really scary. That just makes me extremely sick to read those statistics. We really need to work harder as a country to conserve, elephants and these animals that are being killed for no reason. I mean, how can somebody kill a living being for something like that? I can understand if your family is going hungry. I can understand if you live in a place like Africa and you don't have money and your family is hungry, and the only way that you can feed your family is by killing, an elephant. I can kind of understand that. But to poach an elephant and to kill an elephant just to profit from its ivory, just to make a trinket to make you seem more elegant or more wealthy, of high stature, is completely barbaric and ridiculous. It makes me so angry. This is a subject that is a very sensitive subject for me, and I'm very, very passionate about it. I love elephants. I love all animals, and I hate seeing something like this happening. So, like I said, ivory-seeking poachers have killed 100,000 African elephants in just 3 years, according to a new study that provided the first reliable content wide estimates of illegal kills during the 2011 alone. Roughly 1 of every 12 African elephants was killed by a poacher. 1 of every 12. That's ridiculous. In Central Africa, the hardest hit part of the continent, the regional elephant population had declined by 64% in a decade. A finding of the new study that supports another recent estimate developed from field surveys. The demand for ivory, most notable in China and elsewhere in Asia, is the confusion caused by a one-time sale of a confiscated ivory have helped keep black market prices high in Africa. The new study, published in August 19th issue of Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, led by George Whitmire of Colorado State University, included local and regional population estimates and concluded that 3/4 of local elephant populations are declining. The study authors conducted the first large-scale analysis of poaching losses using data on illegally killed elephants maintained by CITES, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. Whitmire and his team had hoped the new information will move the discussion beyond anecdotes and wild guesses. In quotations, he said, "I think it's the only quantitatively based estimate out there. Researchers and conservationalists," gosh, that's a tongue twister, "hope the analysis will prompt policymakers to take further action to stem the years-long onslaught poaching, which now threatens the survival of elephants in Africa." So let me read that number to you one more time and let it soak in, because this is crazy. An estimated 100 elephants are killed each day. 100 African elephants each day. 4,000 remaining. That's really, really sad. It really, really bothers me that, we have lost that many elephants in a 3-year span. They said 64% of the population in a 3-year span. That's crazy. And for what? At what cost? For a little trinket that somebody sits on their desk to look fancy, to look wealthy, to prove their stature in society. It makes me very, very angry. Makes me so angry. This article comes from the World Wildlife Federation, which I'm a huge fan of, because they try to help animals. They try to help prevent, the extinction of animals like elephants. And this article, you can find it if you want to read more about it. You can also donate and adopt on this page, and it's worldwildlife.org/pages/elephant-ivory. And it's elephant ivory. And it says buyer beware at the very top. And that's something that I was also going to talk about. Be careful, like when you purchase jewelry, vintage jewelry, any kind, make sure that it doesn't have animal products in it. Make sure that you're not risking an animal's life just to have a fancy piece of jewelry to put around your neck, like a necklace. Just make where your products are coming from, what resources your products are coming from, and make sure that it's not going to harm an animal or the environment when purchasing a product. We really, really need to start thinking about Mother Nature here. We really need to start thinking about our planet. Because, like I said earlier, once the animals are extinct, you cannot bring them back from extinction. It's just done. They're gone, never to be on our planet ever again. So we really need to have a better mindset. We need to have a better thought process when we're purchasing items. I won't purchase anything that's made out of fur. I will not do it. It's not going to happen. I'm very, very cautious at looking at the labels of my products before I purchase them. I won't purchase anything leather. I won't purchase anything fur related, and I most definitely will not purchase anything that has ivory in it. So here's where I get this. It takes a whole elephant to make a little bit of ivory. Your purchase has just cost the life of one of the most mystical and majestic creatures on this planet. These carved picture frames are just one of the many items that come from ivory tusks of elephants. The ivory trade is a complicated issue, and most trade is illegal, like I had told you all earlier. You can still find ivory in markets around Africa and Asia, and even in the United States as well as Europe. Here are some facts. African elephants declined in massive numbers in the 1970s and the 1980s because of poaching for the illegal ivory trade. So the international trade was banned by CITES in 1989. Some elephant populations had begun to recover, but poaching continues to be a problem in many areas. CITES allowed a limited export of ivory stocks to Japan in 1999, but only from certain African countries, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, where elephants are relatively numerous. It is illegal to bring ivory back to the United States. Good. Thank goodness. I like hearing that sentence. It's illegal to bring it back to the United States. Unsuspecting tourists often come across ivory and think that it is legal. And some say the elephant's already dead. Why not buy the item, right? Wrong. If people keep buying these products, the illegal trade will continue and poachers will keep killing for more. That brings another theory to mind. I used to work at a pet store, and I know that this it does not have much to do with elephants, but it kind of brings the thought process to mind. You know, if you're purchasing the exotic animals from a pet store, like exotic snakes, exotic tortoises, exotic frogs, fish, you have to think in your mind, where does that come from? Well, they these animals from their natural habitat and bring them over to the United States just so that you can have the animal in a fish aquarium or a habitat, a little tiny habitat, very minuscule compared to their actual natural habitat, just so you can have them sitting in your room on display. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And if people keep buying exotic animals and keep buying ivory and things that come from animals, at what cost? At what cost? These animals are going to go extinct. I remember when I was back in grade school and sugar gliders was a very, very popular pet to have. Until people found out that sugar gliders are up all hours of the night, bouncing around the room. You have to have the know-how to take care of these exotic animals properly. Don't just go to the pet store and purchase an exotic animal just because, oh, it'll make me popular. It'll make me look rich. I want it because it's so cute. It's so pretty. I want to sit it in my room on display. It's not worth it. They are living beings. They have feelings, and you're taking them out of their natural habitat just for stature. It's not worth it, and it's not right. There are 3 ways that you can help to end elephant poaching. So here goes. And this comes from an article that came out on August 25th of 2017. So it is an older article, but I think that it will still do the trick. The problem of elephant poaching requires little introduction. And I've told you all about, the statistics of how many elephants have died per year. 100 elephants a day. That baffles me. Across Africa and Asia, thousands of elephants are killed for ivory each year, with some conservationists estimating that the deaths by hunting per year could be as high as 20,000. 20,000 elephant deaths per year. Let that soak in. 20,000 per year. However, even those statistics are down from the 100,000 elephants that had been reportedly killed between the years of 2010 and 2012. With these extreme numbers, some people are left wondering whether or not there is a solution to the rampant poaching of these beautiful, majestic creatures. In the United States, state laws regulate when and under what circumstances you can hunt many game species. So, there are people who are big game hunters. And I'm not going to tell you what restaurant owner brags about being a big game poacher, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to put this restaurant owner's name out there. I'm not all about that. But there is a very popular restaurant chain where the owner has been seen standing with big game kill and bragging about it and posing with their kill. I'm not sure if it was an elephant or a lion, but it's something that should not have been hunted. It's something that should have not been killed, and most definitely should not be bragging about it. It makes me sick. I know that there has been news reports where these big game hunters parade around with their kill. They pose with their kill, and they're in a photo with their kill like a lion. And there was a story that came out not too long ago. I'm not sure who covered it, but the lion got vengeance on these people who were big game hunting lions, and the lion ended up killing the hunter. So, it's nothing to brag about, and it makes me really sick that there are big game hunters out there. Like I said at the beginning of this program, I can understand if you live in a poor country and you're desperate to feed your family, of hunting an animal for food, not for fur or ivory. It's not right to hunt animals just for pretty items. It's really not. The solutions to poaching in Africa, potential solutions, which are not often implicated. While there are many controversial opinions on this issue of ending poaching, there are many more solutions than meets the eye. The first solution that they give here is increased protection. There are world wildlife conservation places. There are conservation places that try to protect the elephants and rhinos, because rhinos is another one that needs to be protected. So there are organizations out there that do take donations to help increase the protection of these beautiful animals. So increased protection. While this one is a fairly basic solution, there are many different ways of implementing it. Some park protection agencies in Africa use drones to keep a watch at night. That's a very, very an amazing thing. You can do amazing things with drones, and it's good that they have drones to help them keep an eye on their huge conservation parks, because you got to figure that a lot of these areas in Africa cover miles and miles and miles and miles, and they can't have a guard on foot to protect the whole area. So drones, that's awesome that they have drones to help them with that. Others have sought out military tactics in order to stop the black market poaching. In any case, stepping up security is a popular choice amongst the African governments in the fight against poaching. The second way of helping is communal conservation agencies. Despite global trends, Namibia has done something extraordinary between the years of 2002 and 2013. This hasn't been updated, so it could be different now. The elephant population has grown from 9,600 to 16,000. That is awesome. That makes me happy to see that statistic. How, you may ask? The government of Namibia has policies in action where local communities can establish wildlife tourism, and where communities can keep vast amounts of revenue made in this way. Many of Namibia's rural residents are incentivized to make sure the elephant population is maintained and safe. So they get incentives to help keep the population of elephants up. That's awesome. That is really, really awesome. That makes me happy to read that. The third way is to legalize the ivory trade. No, you did hear that correctly. While it may seem counterintuitive, many people believe that by legalizing the trade of tusks, many of the reckless crimes and acts committed by criminal hunters in the black market trade would come more effectively under regulation. While it is a controversial opinion to many, it may open up the market to better oversight and a more responsible harvesting of ivory. I can kind of understand that. That kind of makes sense. I don't like that option, but it does make sense if you really, really think about it, because the price gets marked up because it's illegal, and they have to come by it illegally, which there's dangers in doing so, prison time, they could get killed. So, the markup on the ivory when it's obtained illegally is really, really high. So if they legalize the ivory trade, then it might not, be as bad. Like, people might not be poaching the elephant much because they won't get as high of a price for the product if it's legalized. You can donate if you want to get involved with helping elephants and helping other animals like elephants. You can donate to the African Wildlife Foundation, which they are a great group which funds programs to help stop the poaching of elephants in violation of African conservations. Or you can also donate to the World Wildlife Fund. That is another one that you can donate to. I think that it's very, very important to conserve our planet. It's very, very important to do what we can do to help the extinction of these precious animals, because I'm going to say it again, and I know that I have said it a bunch, but it's very, 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 very important. We need to help these animals. They can't help themselves. We need to do it. We need to be responsible. We need to help however we can to help these precious creatures. I don't want my daughter to grow up in a world where there are no elephants, there are no dolphins, there are no rhinos. I want her to grow up in a world like I did, where I could see these beautiful creatures National Geographic in the wild. I would much rather see them in the wild and happy and living safely and living freely than to have to be put in a zoo for their protection. I don't agree with that. I want animals to be in their natural habitat and to not have to worry about being poached for their ivory or their fur or their leather. I don't want that to happen. So, like I said, if you want to help out, you can donate to the World Wildlife Federation. That is a place that you can donate. I really hope that this program has made you think more about it, has made you want to research this and learn more about it, and has made you realize how very, very, very important elephants and other animals that are going extinct are, to the world, to the planet. It may not seem like they're important, but they are. They're a part of our planet, and we need to protect them. We need to help them because they can't help themselves. I hope that you have enjoyed this program, and I hope that it has been informational and educational. And as always, love, hugs, and blessings.